Ken Bugda, Elizabethville Service Center, 25 years service.
I'm Jack Birchfield, I'm a lineman.
Chad Walsh, journeyman lineman.
The smart grid is an advancement in the technology that they're able to switch the devices remotely from a centralized location. We're in a satellite service center, so there's a less amount of manpower than your bigger centralized areas. It gave us a chance to work as a team and show what a focused small group can accomplish. And everybody has a common goal in mind.
Hi, my name's Kaylor Jackson. I'm a lineman leader for Pennsylvania Power and Light. Before it used to be, I tell them what to do and they go do it. Now the empowerment is I might say what to do, but I ask for their input and I get suggestions back from them, which might be a better way of doing it, and it gets them engaged into the job. And that's where PPL is taking ourselves into the next quartile, because that's going to affect not only productivity, but safety, and I'll be able to go home, not only enjoying my work, but interested in coming back because I'm not frustrated on how things work.
I think the culture of the company has certainly changed to just do it because that's the way we've done it for the last 30 years. We have to take everybody's feelings, ideas, thoughts into stock and get the best product we can out of it.
I don't think I've been around long enough to see all the change, but I do believe that it's heading in a positive direction. I mean, Ken said it best about taking everybody's opinions into consideration. Especially how it used to be, it's not this is the way we do it anymore. It's, well, what's your take on it? And you can give your input. If it's not right or maybe not the best way, they'll let you know about it. And they don't necessarily put you down for what you think. At least they ask you for your opinion rather than just tell you this is how it is, go and do it.
One of the issues that was brought up by the workforce was the ability to hone their skills on some larger work. Really have an open door policy with all employees. I expect them to go to their supervisors and table issues. However, they need sponsorship for a specific issue, they feel free to call me or stop in. So I received a call from one of my linemen here, Dustin Miller. He was walking down a job with tech. Generally, this type of work would be given to contractors. Dustin asked that this would be a good job we keep in-house.
The reconductoring job came about, Dave Engelman, our senior tech down here, came to me with some questions about it, and comes to me with me having a lineman background, asked me quite a few questions about jobs, and said, hey, would you be willing to look at this job? I have a few questions. So I went out and looked at it with him before any of our leaders got the opportunity to look at it. He had said that there's a possibility we could do it, but it was sounding like it was going to go to contractors. At that point, I asked Dave if he'd be willing to meet with our leader out there to get the leader's perspective and have any input from them, trying to get more people involved with the job. Dave was all for that. He's all about meeting with our employees daily. They have that good interaction back and forth. And next thing you know, Dustin went out on the job with him, met with him, decided what would be good, how we could break the job down from it being a larger 1,800 hour job to break it down into a piece where we might be able to continue to maintain it ourselves.
Well, the key thing was in terms of the crewing. So reaching out to other service centers and discussing the resources of we might need a few people from Bethlehem to come, one person from Allentown to come, and Scott coordinated that with the other foremen. I reached out to the other schedulers to let them know like this is what the plan is, and so we just have to reflect that in our scheduling tools so that everyone knows these are the actual resources for the rest of the planned work, and then this is who's going to be taken out of the schedule to focus on this one job for the 3 weeks that it's going on.
So Ron Shepard, our field manager, T&D in Lehigh, contacts me. Is this something we think we can do? Sit down, we get the details, we find out who wants to be involved, what's involved there, and it's a real simple thing to just work up an agreement to do this. What's happened here over the last couple of years has been night and day, 180 degrees opposite of what we were dealing with in the past. There was no cooperation. Quite frankly, everything was a fight, and we've gotten beyond a lot of that.
Months ago, bargaining unit line leadership was doing part of their job walk-downs with the engineering department pre-design. So I came out here with an engineer and we looked at the job and decided that based on the amount of man hours, the remote reportability from the substation, so we're about a half mile away from a sub, and that we're also somewhat centrally located between 3 different areas, that we would be able to pull guys and remote report from a substation to work a reconductoring job, which is work that we don't typically see a lot of and some of us aren't as familiar with, and it's also very enjoyable for us as workers. It was slated to go to contractors, and then we decided that we were able to man it ourselves and that it would be a great experience for us, and we were able to give the training to some of the guys that haven't seen as much of it.
In my shop, I mean, you can definitely see a difference in the job planning. It seemed to be before, early on when I started, I mean, job packs would come incomplete, wrong, already done. It does seem like they're planned a little better now.
Planning, you know, of course the linemen and, you know, managers and, you know, different ways we set up jobs and come together more and get the job executed on time, and we have everything we need, personnel and materials.
My foreman had said that there was a volunteer opportunity, so I volunteered. That's pretty much it. It's just a good opportunity for us to work with other folks that we don't normally get to work with, and see their ways of doing things, and see that that they're working as safely and to the same standards as what we know.
But I feel like since I've been here, they kind of preach, you know, everyone's opinion matters, don't be afraid to say something. And I think it's really practiced in the field.
The biggest difference is when you have 6 guys that want to be at the same spot together, want to work these hours, get along, and want to see the job through. You know, everyone's taking pride in this job. That's paramount.
We didn't do as well as I thought we were going to do with our readiness assessment. I had taken over the work group and been in charge for about 3 months when we did our readiness assessment. I had roughly about 3 months with the guys trying to change things. In doing that, Ron had noticed that I was lacking in some areas. So in January, he pulled me aside and put me on a performance improvement plan. And I took that, at first I was kind of upset and angry because here I thought I was doing a good job. But until someone actually pulls you aside and gives you constructive criticism, you really don't know. And you know, I had people telling me I was doing a good job of being a foreman, but there's things that Ron saw that I wasn't doing. So at that point, you know, I went home, I did some soul searching. I reached out to my father for advice on how to handle this situation. And at that point, I could have either folded and just gone with the 3-month improvement plan and let it run its course and either quit or leave the company or lose my job. that wasn't an option for me. I reached out, taking what Ron had given me, what I need to improve on. I had put a couple pieces of paperwork in place that would allow me to help out. A lot of my stuff was, we had a lot of issues in this building, whether it was with the building itself, within the building, within my work group. And I had no way or no shape or form to get that out. Like, where do I go to get help for this? Who do I talk to? So Ron had asked me to go and shadow other foremen. That was a good opportunity for me to get out, see how people who've been here a little bit longer, how they've been dealing with the tough discussions with employees. How do they handle, employee interaction that might not be in the best behavior. How they were going about, not really discipline, but having that coaching session. I actually had 3 foremen come down and spend 2 days with myself here at the service center, taking the feedback that they had given me on top of what Ron had given me, continuing to work on my paperwork skills and making sure that I was tracking things. Sitting down with Ron monthly and talking about my performance plan and seeing where I was at, and hearing actual good feedback from him was also another good bonus to that. With the help of, coaching accountability, frontline leader engagement, reaching out to my fellow peers for help when I needed it. I had to put some of my pride in the back burner and actually reach out and ask for that help. After getting that help, it allowed me to be more engaged with my crew, my work group. It allowed me to come in mornings and, have that conversation with them of, what do you guys need from me today? What is it that you guys need? Because before they weren't being heard. They were asking for things. They were bringing, safety concerns up. They were bringing things up, and they just weren't being handled. A big turning point with that would be when Ron basically said he would back us as foremen with our decisions and allowing us to do our jobs. So that made me feel that I had a field manager that is upper management that is going to have my back when I make a decision, right, wrong, or indifferent, and then we would work through that process. And that has allowed me to become a better leader. It has allowed me to open up more. The relationship I have with my work group now is tenfold from even when I started here. The day I was off my 3-month performance improvement plan, some of the stuff that I had started, I'm still continuing today because it's something that helps me every day. Yes, there are still days where things are tough, but you just work through them like you would any other day. Reach out to people when you need it, and it all comes back to myself. And I had to make a change, and I chose to do that, and I used the tools that were available to me, and I feel that it has made me a better foreman.
The project we're talking about today is what we refer to as our customer portal.
PES project, also known as Provide Electric Service or Contractor Services when you see it on the website, was a project to build a web self-service tool allowing contractors, builders, electricians, inspectors to create and track work orders online, submit electrical inspections online, receive email notifications for status updates for their jobs, allow them to view some contact information about the job online, essentially allowing them to handle this work any time of day or night, not constricted to our business hours, Monday through Friday.
So we saw a need or a gap in the organization around how we provide service to customers who want to connect to our system. And so thought there were opportunities there to work across the organization with different departments to have a best-in-class solution. So the idea came out of a strategy session we had in distribution operations. I signed it to Dana and Daryl, and they basically ran with it. The I think challenges we had to overcome is stop looking at it from just a PPL perspective. Go out, understand what others in the industry are doing, best in class, and be able to put together a process that is better than anyone else in the industry. And I shared with Dana and Daryl my measure of success and what success looks like is when every other utility in the country is banging on our door to try to understand what did you guys do here and how did you do it.
Market research was able to see that this was a pain point for customers. They didn't feel like it was a very transparent process. They had to contact us a lot throughout just to check in and see where things were with their job, whether the next action item was on PPL or if it was on their part. So we saw this as an opportunity to certainly improve. We held focus groups with the different users of this potential tool.
One of the things that stood out to me from the focus groups was the need for a different inspector process. So it was a large pain point that was communicated to us. And early on in the focus groups, we knew right away that we needed to change that process. So now the inspectors can go online and submit basically immediately as upon doing an inspection versus faxing in a form. And it also leads to reduced calls and increased customer satisfaction for the contractors and electricians because they now know immediately that their work has been inspected instead of days later or a week later.
The mobility, the mobile application improvement, so that all this access to their job information, it can be done via when they're out in the field on their telephone or their iPad.
It is now a fully integrated self-service method that a contractor can use to apply for service, perform the work, get the inspection done without ever having to contact PPL, call PPL. We don't have to roll a truck. We don't have to involve a designer. It's really going to save costs.
This project provided an opportunity for folks on the team to work together with people outside of their normal department. In this project, working with marketing research on the benchmarking and the focus groups, as well as bringing in folks from IT, customer service. Customer service is an integral part of the process, particularly on the initiation phase. As Keith had earlier said, the whole process of customers calling in, the wait times, the amount of time it took to initiate work orders. I mean, it was basically everybody working together to identify what the pain points in the process were, understanding what each other's needs were, in particular, looking out for the needs of our customers and contractors to make this process as easy as we could for them.
In dealing with all those groups that you mentioned, I think it was valuable to learn all the business processes that really went into all of these, really all the behind the scenes work from, I guess it was even distribution operations. We had to learn all the ins and outs of engineering and scheduling, and back to the contact center with Keith. He was integral in at least providing us the process from how everything actually worked so that we could give all the correct information both to our internal employees as customers and our external customers.
This was a large-scale project in terms of number of personnel and crossing many areas of the business, and collaboration was the absolute key to the success of this project. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've often been met with resistance with sharing and meeting and getting answers. I didn't see any of that on this project.
The key factors of success, I think, as Mark mentioned, we've been doing this for a long time on the IT side. I believe everyone that was involved, that this was new to them. So I think the focus and the dedication, they kind of, in a lot of ways, set their job aside, or at least for part of the time, and really focused on this as their number one priority, and that allowed us to be successful ultimately.
We have the ability that whatever challenge comes our way, that we'll be able to, collaboratively and constructively be able to put a team together, cross-functionally across departments, bring people together to solve that problem and implement a solution that'll help carry this company forward successfully.
It's the culture of the company that allowed that to happen.